Today, I'll introduce you to Shiny for Python. It's a way to make these reactive, highly visual data applications in pure Python. This is a production-ready workflow. I'm going to first click on the Shiny examples so you can see the power of Shiny in a very small amount of code. The Shiny gallery shows the power of Shiny. The code is more complex, but it can show you what it can do. In the Shiny gallery, I'm going to look at the Superzip Explorer. This is a visualization of the zip codes in the United States. It helps to reveal some of the inequities in the United States that we need to work on. In addition to the data, we have the source code here, which is on GitHub. To understand Shiny, I've downloaded the source code onto my local computer and I've opened it up in Positron. I press the play button, which is in the upper left-hand corner of the window pane. Within Positron, we can visualize the data set with the Python program using Shiny and using IPyLeaflet. If you want to do some mapping, you should check out this IPyLeaflet package for Python. It's pretty cool. This application is fairly wide, so you can also open it up in a browser. So I generally like to use it within the Positron window pane inside of Positron. But it's also nice to test it on the browser because I guess this is the way the application would be deployed is inside of a browser. And it's nice to be able to create these type of visualizations in pure Python. That's what you're using for the data analysis. For example, we're using pandas here. I intentionally insert an error so you can try out that little fix button and explain button. It's using the built-in AI within Positron. Then now that we have imported the data set, we can see that's nicely formatted here in the lower console pane. And now that we have the variable in our session, in the right-hand pane, we can expect the data using this data browser here that's built into Positron. If we click on the little grid icon, we can see more information about the specific data set. The information is automatically generated to help with analysis by a human. So by doing the analysis in Python and using Python, in this case we're using Shiny, although there are other frameworks that you can use, it's quite a nice workflow. And in this way, you can think about how you want to tell the story of your data, what to plot, what to show. For example, we could look at the income as represented by the different zip codes and get a kind of feel for the data. Just kind of scrolling through it, we can see that there's some disparity. We can see what the mean and the median is, as well as the max and the min per zip code area. Although the demo is impressive, I'm going to use a much shorter and much simpler application here. This is from the Shiny examples portion. And you can see that the entire code, including the imports, is only 18 lines here. So very small. We have the data in a separate file called data.py. So you can just see how simple the code is in this example. This simple example just shows where the center of the map is based on a city. So we're going to select Berlin, and the center of the map will be Berlin. If we go to Madrid, the center of the map will be Madrid. And I populated it out intentionally with some smaller islands and places around so we can see and test to make sure that the map is moving. The code itself is on the left-hand pane, and you can see that you could easily get into this with IPyLeaflet and start having some fun. This example is using Shiny Express and Shiny widgets. I encourage you to take a look at this. Start off with a small application, and I also recommend that you change the data set, which I did. Then I'm going to press the Post and Publish button there. I already have this connected to the Posit Connect Cloud, which is a free service at the level that I'm using it at. I'm going to create a new deployment here. The entry point is app.py. That's where I have the bulk of the code. Well, it's a very short program, so it's the entire program. And we'll call the application map demo. So I've configured my account with Posit Connect Cloud, and it's going to attempt to do the deployment. I need both the app.py and the data.py, and I also need a requirements.txt. Since I used UV, I don't have a requirements.txt. I'm going to attempt to use the Positron AI Assistant, which I've configured previously with OpenAI, and ask it how to use UV to export a requirements.txt file, which I will need for the deployment. So I will copy it, what the Positron Assistant is telling me to do. So I'll use a simpler one, UV freeze, and then I will output it into requirements.txt. On the command line, I'll just check it with less requirements.txt. It'll just put it to the screen. And in the left-hand panel, I'm going to make sure that the requirements.txt is also selected. And let's push it up. So just press the upload button. And we can see what the console, it's looking like it's going to succeed. And it says successfully deployed, and there's a longish URL here. But that's because it has the credentials in it. When I log in, I can see I have the map, and it does appear to be working fine. So very easily, you can take your example with Shiny, or it could be any other framework, but Shiny is pretty easy, and it's a quick way to show your data. So in an afternoon, you can create a pure Python data application that's reactive and get it deployed. I just clicked on the copy URL. I'm going to test it in an incognito browser. So I'm not logged in on the incognito, and it still works. So it's a public URL you can share with your friends.